important Canadian company had some rather big news today, and that's Magna International saying that longtime CEO Don Walker will be replaced by the company's chief technology officer. Magna, of course, one of the big players in auto parts globally as the shift to electric vehicles is underway, including here in Canada. What does that say about its future? Don Walker is with us now. Great to have you with us, Don.
Hey, Amanda. Great to be here.
I do want to start with just the timing of your announcement, how long you've been thinking about it, what the transition sort of says about the company, and whether you were at all, whether you hesitated because we are still in the middle of the pandemic.
Well, I've been here for 33 years, so I've been thinking about this on and off the last 5 years, and we're working with the board for about 5 years now in a pretty extensive succession planning process for all of the key positions, including my position. So the timing is right. It's not so much what's the right timing for me. I think it's right. What's the right timing for the company? And our president, Swamy Kotagiri, is ready for the role. I've been working with him for well over a year to get to the point where we're ready for the change. And there's lots of reasons to change now, but the timing, that's really what's driven the timing.
What are some of the reasons that the change now makes sense?
There's a lot going on. It's really not COVID related driven at all, because we've had the whole industry back running effectively for the past 4 months in North America and even longer than that in China. There's so much going on in the area of electrification, of autonomous driving features, lightweighting, sustainability, artificial intelligence. The list goes on and on. The automotive industry is the most technologically challenging industry in the world. And Swamy's come up through, he's an engineer, he did their chief technology officer role, has run various divisions in the company, and most recently the president. So he's very well equipped for the job and knows our customers, the technology inside and out. And, you know, I could work forever, I guess, I'm healthy, but I really think you need to have somebody who's really passionate into the details. And Swamy's got a long runway ahead of him as well, so it was a good time for the handover.
We, obviously we've heard a lot about electrification of the supply chain here in Canada. Some big wins by Labour on getting production moved up here. Is Magna ready for that? What role do you play in all of that, and how much kind of pivoting do you need to do to support that?
Yeah, we're quite involved. We're the third largest automotive parts supplier in the world. We're about, in a normal year, we're about $40 billion US. So a lot of our products are really agnostic to what the powertrain is, whether it's steel bodies or exteriors or latches or seats, whatever. But we do have a pretty big position in what we call powertrain. So not the internal combustion engine, but everything that takes the power to the wheels. So we've got a lot of technology and a lot of products coming to market around the electrification of the powertrain, whether it's hybrid or pure electric vehicles. So to the extent that there's assembly volume in Canada, it's good for us. We have a lot of plants here. We just have 120,000 people in Canada out of our 150,000. So if there's electric vehicles are made here, we have the technology that hopefully will be competitive and win the business, and that'll be going into our Canadian plants.
Along with the Canadian plants, Don, Magna is truly international, and some of your most efficient plants are in other countries, including in Mexico. Has the thickening of the border in the last few years under the Trump administration created any issues for you? Do you hope that changes? What are you thinking about when you think about that global footprint?
Not a big change. I was really happy to see NAFTA was successfully renegotiated. A lot of good work from a lot of people. It really allows the Canadian, U.S., and Mexican plants all to compete for business in North America. There's a requirement that the car companies have to think through about labor content and value-added content. But NAFTA was a good deal to get done. I think what's more important for the North American continent, quite frankly, is the negotiations with China and not having North America flooded with vehicles from other areas of the world, like China could be coming in the future. But if you look at all of our plants in Canada, U.S., and Mexico, they're all very competitive. And there'd be, there's advantages to labor, but disadvantages to shipping. So it really hasn't changed very much from our perspective on our footprint.
When you look around the world and see how sales have held up, is there a jurisdiction that has, do you think, the right mix of type of vehicle for, not necessarily for today, Don, but as you look down sort of in your 5-year planning, where's the jurisdiction you think is getting it right?
Well, China is the biggest market in the world, and it was growing very rapidly. It's flattened out, and I think it'll be a good market going forward. But we'll see what happens. They've got a lot of pretty well thought through legislation, and they're really pushing electric vehicles. Europe has slowed down a little bit more. North America is still pretty strong. So it'll depend on what happens with the economy. Depends how much disposable income people have. One thing that's changed, there's a lot of new solutions for mobility, because not only are you moving people around, we're now going to be moving a lot of goods just because of the way people are ordering and what's happened through COVID. So that's going to be an opportunity. Micromobility, so scooters or smaller vehicles, is an opportunity. And we'll see what happens with legislation around global warming. But for the most part, we're seeing pretty strong demand in North America. We're the biggest auto parts supplier by a long shot, as well as China. Europe's slowing a little bit. We'll see what happens over there.
China obviously has been in focus in an unwelcome way, Don, on the diplomatic front. Has that affected Magna in any way in terms of your ability to do business unimpeded there?
No, it really hasn't. I mean, we're a Canadian-based company, but we have big offices for our various groups in Detroit, in Europe. So we have people we're a pretty global company. There's a bit of tension between Canada and China because of the issue with the people. But overall, China recognizes they want good suppliers that have good technology, and we have about 20,000 people in China, and for the most part, we're doing business over there that's for the Chinese market. So it's relatively self-contained. We're not shipping as much back from China as we might have been if there was no trade restrictions. But I think that's a healthy thing, and we tend to build where we're going to be shipping to our end customers.
Don, you're about as close to a family member as the company could get for a long time, obviously very close to the founder. This will be a change for the company, culturally and otherwise. What do you think will be different under Swamy?
I think we're going to have a lot of continuity. We've really thought this through well. We've had over half of the senior management team of the top 15 people has changed due to retirements in the last couple of years, and most of those people are long-time Magna people. Swamy's a long-time person. He's been involved in all of our product strategy decisions, our geographic decisions, our technology, our people side. He's overseen the operations as well, so he really understands the culture, which is unique to Magna. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of change. I think the one area where we just need to keep on focusing on what are the big opportunities ahead with all of the changes in mobility space, and that's where I think Swamy will be continuing to focus, and that's where I think we're going to see some big opportunities, and we've already announced a few things recently, but there's a lot of opportunity ahead for a company that's got as much technology in an industry where we're competitive, and the customers, we have such good relationship with our customers.
All right, and before I let you go, I've got to ask you, just as a global CEO in Canada here in the middle of unprecedented times, how do you rate the Canadian government's handling of the pandemic?
Well, there's two sides to that. There's Ontario and there's federally. I'm glad I'm not having to make the decisions. I think both provincially, Ontario, where we operate, and federally, I think they've both done a good job. I'm very concerned about the amount of debt we're taking on, and I hope that when we see the budget federally, that there's a very pragmatic, intelligent way, and not to drive taxes up so high that you lose all your entrepreneurs and your senior people or lose companies. But hopefully they'll get that right. But I think the cooperation, the communication, and just handling this thing has been overall very commendable. I talked to the Premier a lot early on, and I mean, there's a lot of challenges, and everybody will criticize you for everything. But overall, I think they've done a very good job. We just got to make sure we don't have all the decisions made by medical people who are doing what they think is right. We also need to keep our economy going, and we need to keep people at work. And that's why I'm so happy we've been able to get the automotive industry en masse back to work safely and have contained any spread of the virus.
All right, it's great to have your time today, Don. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Magna's Don Walker.